Hey guys, Gospel Guitarist here, and today I'm going to do a simple upgrade to my new Roland GC1 guitar that I had about a week now. I've ordered some authentic Fender locking tuners that will be going on the guitar, and I will be mentioning that these are staggered as well. And you probably might be going, well, what's a staggered tuner? Never heard of a staggered tuner. Well, staggered tuners, you have longer tuning shafts at this end of the guitar headstock, and you have these shorter ones for these three. Other brands do it differently, like each one will have a shorter. This will be the tallest, and shorter, then this one will be shorter than this one, and this one will be shorter than this one. Fender has chosen to do these three. They look to be a normal sized, and then the other three are slightly smaller, if you can see that. And to make sure you get the right ones, make sure you're paying attention. Out of the box, if you orient the box this way, then it's just a direct replacement. And the back of the guitar's headstock has no screws to remove on the Fenders, as do other tuning keys. So the only thing we need to do is remove the strings first. Then I will proceed to remove the nuts and remove the tuners. And I'll make a couple more observations as I go. Okay, with the strings removed, the next step would be to remove the nuts and taking off the tuner. I personally would recommend a socket for this. Socket size for Fenders are 13/32, and make sure the socket's not shallow, but it's got a little depth to it. This one barely fits over the tuner, so that could be your biggest problem, is trying to find one that's deep enough to fit and grasp the nut itself. So once I unscrewed that, this just fell right out. Okay, and now the deal with the Fender design is that they have two pins on here, and if I turn the headstock over, we should be able to see the two pinholes as soon as I put this back together for storage. These are perfectly fine tuning keys in and of themselves. I would recommend them just fine for an acoustic guitar you have with bad tuners on it or something. Let me see if it'll show up on cam. It should. As you can see here, there are two holes. Now this is the design that Fender has gone with. And the two holes with the pegs in there means you don't need the screw. And so I really like that design by Fender to do that. Makes doing what I'm doing right now a breeze. So then you just take your new Fender tuner, and the holes will all line up. Okay, now just take that on there. You can hand tighten it, makes it go a little bit faster. And you don't want to tighten your nuts down too much, because you don't want to crack the finish on your fretboard. Where did my socket go? I just love the kind with no ball bearing to hold them on there. Okay, and that's it. As you can see, it looks completely identical, and the only difference is that these lock. So now I'll just go through the rest of them here, and I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done. Okay, now that we have the tuners are all in place, let's take a better look at it. Let me lift the guitar up, and I shall show you the stagger best I can here. I can get it on camera. There. See how the first three tuners are shorter, but tuners for strings 4, 5, and 6 are quite a bit taller. And that's the back. So why staggered tuners? How come they aren't always staggered? The other video I did, if you've been following my channel, I have a video where I install some Grovers on a Schecter guitar, and they're not staggered. The difference is because if you have a headstock that is tilted back, unlike a Fender where it's one piece of wood, the tilted headstocks put a nice string angle across the nut so the strings stay seated in the nut. But on Fender guitars where the necks are one piece and the string doesn't break across the nut properly, it only does it for like the first 4 strings. It has a pretty good break angle because they require lots of windings usually, and it takes the string down the post, and that puts pressure on your nut. But as you get way out here and you have thin strings, the angle is actually more of a straight line, and there's not much of a break angle for the first 3 strings. And that is why they put these string trees on, because the string tree makes it have that break angle so that when you're playing you won't be popping the strings out of your nut slots. The theory, and I call it theory because it's interesting how Fender still includes their nuts even on their Fender American lines. A lot of them will have the same tuning keys that I just installed on those guitars, and they still put a string tree on there. So I'm going to check it out, what the angle is without it. I do have a roller tree on the way, which I will probably go ahead and use, just because I don't like holes showing in my instruments, but I'll see how that works out. The roller shouldn't make much difference since this staggered height is going to lessen the amount that the string trees are bending on the strings, and since it'll be a roller there won't be any friction there. But technically, theoretically, I should not need to use a tree at all with staggered tuners, because the tuners themselves are doing what these string retainers do, which is increase the break angle across the nut by being closer to the headstock. So just by putting the string on these, the string angles are going to be lower, because as you've seen, the tuning peg is lower. So that's why the stagger is there. Usually on the inlines. Don't do much for the 3x3 guitars, so I would think you only need staggered on a line 6 style headstocks. So that's it for the install, and now I'm going to polish up the fretboard and put the new Fender bullets on there. And speaking of Fender bullets, I'm a D'Addario string guy. I've always used D'Addario strings, and that seems like everything else just breaks prematurely on me all the time. And it's not my technique, because I'd be breaking every string. The D'Addarios just last a long time. I'm really happy with them. What is your feelings? What are your feelings on the Fender bullets? And specifically, I'm using the Super Bullets, which I guess are coated, which I generally don't like coated strings, but because they help the tremolo stability, I'm willing to give them a shot. I just hope I like the strings. What do you guys think of these? Some guys just swear by them. They won't use anything else. So anyway, that's it for this video. I'll do a little string tree replacement video probably later. It's almost like, why? But, well, just because people do it, that's why. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe and follow my channel, and like and share and all those good maneuvers. Take it easy now.